Hello, guys. This is Minister Gift Man Exceptional. We have here.
Brother Oluwa Sheung.
Okay. Thank you so much. This is a wonderful podcast and review, and it's actually going to be a very short one. So we are looking at um laying up treasures. Is the actually the body of the whole thing, but we are going to break it down bit by bit. But a question dropped on my mind that talks about Ecclesiastes. He lamented that there is no profit for a man after he dies. So that question, will I say that phrase, kept me wondering. So I need someone that will throw more light. So that's why we have Mr. Shivnia. So go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you for the question. So regarding that aspect, of course, we know that there are times you can read a place in the Bible and it can be disturbing to you with respect to your level of understanding. So that place where Solomon said, of course, it was Solomon that wrote Ecclesiastes, and that place where he said it is what
He said there is no profit
he
for
said
a
there is
man
no
after
profit.
he
Sorry about that. He
dies.
said there is no profit for a man after he dies. So he was um communicating his frustration regarding his labors, his all his work, all his efforts, everything he had laid, everything he had established. So he was saying that after a man dies, there is no profit. That and in addition, he said that it is someone that he doesn't know, maybe a fool or maybe a wise person, that will come and inherit that thing. Now, one thing you must know that Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes from his fallen standpoint, because we knew what was his end in the Bible
Hmm.
after he did not heed the warning of God, and he had a lot of wives and a lot of concubines. So he wrote that perspective from his fallen standpoint. Now, do not misunderstand me. I'm not saying that the whole Ecclesiastes is wrong. Of course, there are accurate truths that he communicated, but there are specific parts like this one we are talking about now. He says it is this one is vanity. Even there was even a place where he said vanity upon vanity, all is vanity. Now, Jesus was giving us he was giving us a perspective that it is possible for a man to lay up treasures in heaven. That is in Matthew chapter 6, verse 20. He said, but store up for yourself treasures in heaven. Now, Solomon never knew that there is a technology or a principle that he can apply, that he can use as a means to transport certain valuable things to eternity, whereby after his death he will have treasures in heaven. He never had that understanding, never had that perspective, and the limitation he had was that he does not have certain level of access into the prophetic. Unlike David, there are times David will see revelations in the spirit realm, and he will say, the Lord said to my Lord, sit
Hmm.
thou at my right hand until I make your enemy your footstool. So David had access to certain spiritual intelligence, but
Hmm.
Solomon never had that access. All Solomon had was a wisdom. He had an exceptional level of wisdom. It
Hmm.
was that wisdom that got him to that point where he was able to evaluate such a very important matter. If you
Hmm.
check the Bible, not many people evaluated something like this, something as crucial as this. Not many people in the Bible. In fact, I'm not sure any other person in the Bible talked about this particular issue. So
Hmm.
Solomon is a man with an exceptional level of wisdom, and he will look at many things in his surrounding. He will give perspective to them. He had opinion about many things. The Bible said he gave parables about fish, about animals, about flowers. He will give perspective to them. So he was vetting the situation, and he saw that this was not supposed to be right. But that communication he made, that this too is not supposed to be so. That is not supposed to be so, that a man will labor and it is another man that will inherit it. Of course, now what I'm saying is not that, what I'm trying to say, don't get me wrong, is not that um so um like I said, Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes from a fallen standpoint. And what is the proof of that? The proof of that, one of the proofs of that, is in Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 2. He said, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. So he was when he started writing Ecclesiastes, he was no longer calling himself king, he was calling himself the preacher. So he was no longer seeing himself as a king, but as a preacher. With let me make that relatable now. Like as people, as individuals, we might have gone through certain things in our lives, and when we want to communicate that experience to teach other people, then we can give ourselves certain names. Sure, you get, maybe as a doctor, it may not happen to you. Maybe in your career you didn't really make much. Then you now want to communicate that experience in your career. You will no longer call yourself a doctor. You can look for a name that suits your new career. So Solomon, he had already become a preacher, and if you bet most of the things he wrote in Ecclesiastes, it was about it was about his past experience, and he was trying to bring perspective from his past experience and trying to use it to teach a people. He was trying to share some of his errors with in that Ecclesiastes. He read it very well. So now, when Solomon was communicating his frustration by saying that everything he labored for, everything he worked for, it is another man that will come and inherit it after him, that this was not supposed to be so. He never had a complete counsel according to God's perspective. Because in Matthew, in the New Testament, in the book of Matthew chapter 6 verse 20, Jesus gave us a perspective. He says, but store up for yourself treasures in heaven. Now Jesus gave us a perspective that it is possible for you to do something, or for you to apply a principle. He was giving us a perspective that there is it's not just a perspective, it is an accurate truth, that there is a technology you can engage with what you have here, with your material things. Because you will see places where he was telling the rich young ruler to sell everything he had and give to the poor, and then he will have treasures in heaven, right? So that was the principle. Do a good work, then it will translate to a reward system for you in heaven. Now Solomon never had this latter part of this truth. He never had that understanding. Thank you. So because he did not have this understanding, his knowledge about what he was communicating his frustration about, his knowledge was limited. Now he was worried about it, but because he did not have light. And another limitation that Solomon had was that he did not have access to certain levels of the prophetic like David had. Because we've seen places where David will say, the Lord said to my Lord, sit here at my right hand until I make your enemy your footstool. So David is a man who, beyond his wisdom, beyond his intellect, he also has access to the spiritual realm. He has access to spiritual intelligence. So he can inquire about a matter and have the complete counsel. Unlike Solomon. Solomon was just with his level of wisdom. We know Solomon as a man who had an exceptional level of wisdom, which came as a result of the impartation that God gave him. So it is even that exceptional level of wisdom that made him to be able to come to that point where he noticed that this thing is not supposed to be like this. Because a lot can be happening around you, and because you don't have enough wisdom, you might not be able to discern that this is not right, this is not right. But Solomon had that level of wisdom, so he was able to discern that this one is not right. It's not supposed to be like this. A man is not supposed to labor all of his life, and then when such man dies, then communicate this kind of frustration. They did not think to this level.
Yes.
So Solomon is a man who had that level of exceptional level of wisdom. So he will look at so many things. He has opinion about so many things. That is in 1 Kings chapter 4:32. The Bible says in that verse that he spoke 3,000 proverbs. And the verse 33, he spoke about plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to hyssop. He spoke about animals, about birds. So he has opinion about a lot of things. By reason of that wisdom, he will look at things, vet them, evaluate them, and give perspective. And most times they were accurate.
Okay.
But with respect to this, it was that body of truth he was communicating there. It was not complete. You can have a counsel, but it might not be the complete counsel. So this is to let you know that as individuals in life, we have, even beyond our life here, we have reward in heaven. So Jesus has brought that complete counsel.
Okay, thank you so very much. This is the part 1 of the podcast. So we'll keep you updated on part 2. So please like and subscribe. Follow us on all social handles. See you next time. God bless.
Communicate this kind of frustration. They did not think to this level.
Yes.
So Solomon is a man who had that level of exceptional level of wisdom. So he will look at so many things. He has opinion about so many things. That is in 1 Kings chapter 4:32. The Bible says in that verse that he spoke 3,000 proverbs. And the verse 33, he spoke about plant life, from the cedar of Lebanon to hyssop. He spoke about animals, about birds. So he has opinion about a lot of things. By reason of that wisdom, he will look at things, vet them, evaluate them, and give perspective. And most times they were accurate.
Okay.
But with respect to this, it was that body of truth he was communicating there. It was not complete. You can have a counsel, but it might not be the complete counsel. So this is to let you know that as individuals in life, we have, even beyond our life here, we have reward in heaven. So Jesus has brought that complete counsel.
Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much. This is the part one of the podcast. So we'll keep you updated on part two. So please like and subscribe. Follow us on all social handles. See you next time. God bless.